Basti. Welcome to the Basketball and Hockey Podcast here at Talent Alone. I feel like I messed that up some word in there. I'm your host, Adam Hess, and with me, as always, he's known for being in Disney on Ice, not one, not two, but 3 consecutive times. It's Mike Regan. Mike, how you doing today? Okay, so for the audio listeners, he grabbed a plastic cup, and then he's shaken a shaker bottle that appears to be full of dog piss, and he's pouring the dog piss into the plastic cup now, and he has a cup full of dog piss and a lime. He has a lime for his dog piss. He just threw off screen pretty theatrically.
How you doing, Adam?
You got bits. I didn't expect bits. Wasn't ready for bits.
That was for you because you picked on my shaken iced tea last week, or my shaken lemonade.
So this week you drink dog piss to
I did it
show
on
me
cam.
who's boss.
I did it on cam.
There you go. There's no other podcast you will find this week that will both talk about the Ryan Healy to the New York Islanders trade and have a host drink dog piss in the same episode.
I'm not drinking dog piss. God.
I had a feeling in the back of my
Stop
head that if I said it
bullying me.
enough times, it would get to you eventually.
I would eventually respond to it.
I had to keep saying it, yeah. I couldn't just give up, you know. Hey, Mike. So DJ Moore got hurt?
Did he? I didn't see that.
Didn't he? Am I wrong? Didn't he get like a high ankle sprain?
I didn't see it. I mean, I might be behind. I haven't had a chance to check out a lot of sports news today outside of doing my notes for this pod.
Looks like he's playing. I know. I heard that he got a high ankle sprain. My heart went out for you, you know? I was worried about my two podcast co-hosts, you with DJ Moore with the high ankle sprain and Tyler with his entire secondary getting hurt and Luther Burden pulling his groin.
He had a good groin pull. That lingers when you pull the groin.
It depends on how good you are at it. Sometimes it doesn't linger at all.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, we're a hockey podcast. Right when I was trying to sell us to Disney, too, and I had to go make that joke.
Dang.
Yeah. Now, Bob Iger will never spend $12 billion on this podcast.
He's not the CEO anymore, you idiot.
I was making a him buying the Lakers joke.
I know, but I was still correcting you.
Really is a podcast of white guys.
Do you see my
well,
my future
actually,
wife?
Bob Iger isn't the CEO of Disney anymore.
Did you see my future wife, Jeannie Buss, was like, "Nah, we're not selling our shares. Pieces of
And
shit."
Then all of her siblings went, "No, we're selling our shares."
Then she was like, "Nuh-uh."
I think she's selling
They
her
were
share
like,
too.
"Uh-huh." And then she was like, "Nuh-uh." I'll call her later, see what she says, get the latest update. And she'll say, "Please stop calling me. I'm calling the police."
How'd you get this number?
I'll say, "Jeannie, baby, come on."
Do you just use the T9 pad to type in bus and hope that it goes to her?
Yeah.
Mike, we are a hockey and basketball podcast this week, once again covering the hockey offseason, the NHL offseason, the Chell offseason, the offseason for the show. Going division by division, giving every team a letter grade for their offseason moves. Last week we did the Pacific. To resounding success. Everyone was very happy about the grades we gave out.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think at all that it was dumb to give a team a C because they did average.
I feel like that
If I
makes
may ask.
complete sense.
Yeah. I got a couple texts. About people that were like, if a team did what they were supposed to, why do they get a C? And I was like, I don't know.
That's average.
Maybe your fucking kid in school should get a C when they just do what they're supposed to. Fucking grade inflation.
In school, an average is like a C. It literally means like you did fine. You
Yeah,
did what
but
you're
like
supposed to do.
The problem is that because of grade inflation, now an average is like a B plus, and if you get below an A, you suck.
Is this fucking participation trophy climate we live in? Disgusting. Pinko snowflakes, I tell you. We're just gonna give A's out for being able to spell your name. This is why China's beating us. Let me tell you.
Beating us in what?
Hockey grades, apparently.
Yeah, you see Xi Jinping's grade for Macklin Celebrini's deal. Wild stuff.
Yeah, wild.
I don't know how I don't know how anyone would see it because you can't check the internet there. But if you did see
true.
it, he looks like Winnie the Pooh. You ever realize that?
Yeah, you can't say that. You're dead. You're dead.
Now I'm gonna have to get John Cena to apologize in Mandarin.
Yeah.
Is that Is that the best thing that's ever happened for John Cena's career?
Oh, him being a little bitch and being like, no,
Him apologizing in
Taiwan
Mandarin?
is not its own country. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, Winnie the Pooh. I would never disrespect you.
Who's
I'm
Christopher
fighting the
Robin
urge so
for the
hard to
Giants
start doing accents that will get us canceled, so we should just move on.
guy? You mean John Cena's accent?
No. Well, maybe John Cena's accent doing Mandarin. That might be borderline cancelable.
John Cena, is he a Bruins fan?
Probably. He's from Boston. Every time they ran a show in Boston, all of a sudden he would have a Boston accent because he's a
Yeah, what
he's a disingenuous douchebag.
So, like, is the only wrestler that you associate with hockey CM Punk?
CM Punk and then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are big Canadian fans.
Canadians. Fucking
Canadians.
dork-ass Canadians.
Oh, and I guess Jericho too, because his dad literally played for the Rangers. So
yeah, but come on. He was born in Winnipeg and he's not a Jets fan. What are we doing here?
Le Champion, the Painmaker.
And we all know that Kenny Omega doesn't watch hockey because he's a virgin nerd who wouldn't watch sports. Mike.
All right, now you're just being mean. Let's talk hockey.
Let's talk hockey.
Uncalled for.
Do I leave all that in? We're going to lose 100% of our listeners when we make wrestling jokes for 3 straight minutes. Do I leave it in anyways?
Yeah, fuck those listeners.
I'll put in timestamps. If you're listening to this part, go back to before the wrestling jokes, and you can see there's timestamps, so you can skip over them.
Yes.
Mike, we're talking to hockey this week. We are on to the Central, the second most Western division. We need a Mountain division. We should have a division per time zone, I think.
Interesting. I want you to know I still did my notes alphabetically in protest. I just want you to know that.
That is absurd. The way that I have decided to talk about these teams makes so much more sense than just going alphabetically.
I know, but still, I decided to do my notes alphabetically in protest.
So we'll be going through the Central Division of hockey, formerly known as the Con Division. I don't know any of the old division names from like before 2000, so. Last year, the order of finish from last to first was the Chicago Blackhawks, the Winnipeg Jets, the Nashville Predators, the St. Louis Blues, the Utah Mammoth, the Minnesota Wild, the Dallas Stars, and the Colorado Avalanche, which, incidentally, will be the order that we are talking about these teams in. So why don't we start here, Mike? Your hometown team, right up the road from you, the Chicago Blackhawks, during this offseason, they made a couple of notable trades. June 23rd, they acquired this little guy named Bowen Byram, if that's how you pronounce that, and Jordan Greenway from the Buffalo Bills for the 4th and 45th picks in the draft, as well as Louis Crevier. And they traded Andre Burakovsky to Ottawa for a 2027 6th-round pick, which raises the question, did you really need to trade Andre Burakovsky?
Yeah, but they dumped $5.5 million cap, so I get it.
Yeah. I'll give them that. You know, you can't take that away from them. So, Mike, let's start here. Obviously, their biggest move of the offseason was trading for Bowen Byram, and then we haven't talked about the signs yet, but then they signed him to a 6-year, $75 million extension, which has an AAV of $12.5 million, making him the highest paid defenseman in the league, I believe.
Cal
So, Mike, you want
McCarr's
to start
agent is so happy.
That, by the way, that extension does not even kick in until next year.
Yeah.
He's in a contract year at $6.25 million. And then next year kicks in his extension at $12.5 million. So you have 1 year of him on a reasonable deal before it really kicks up.
Then it doubles.
Yeah. Last year, 82 games, 11 goals, 31 assists for 42 points. Respectable point total.
Those numbers will go up this year, just due to ice time and power play time.
Was he not on the top pair in Buffalo? No, I guess that. Well,
he wasn't.
Was he not? Because he's a left shot, so he wouldn't be.
Yeah, he never was.
Yeah.
He was on the second pair with power. We usually ran Dahlin and Samuelson on the top pair.
And
that's the same thing. Dahlin was always QB1 of the power play.
Yeah, that was Bowen Byram's big complaint and why he wanted out of Buffalo, right? Is that he wants to be the QB of the power play, which I suppose he will have his opportunity to do on the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah. Like I said, he got everything worked out great. All the props to Bowen Byram because he's going to be on the first line. He's going to be on power play 1. He got paid crazy. So this worked out fucking roses for him.
So the good news for this particular podcast, though, is that we aren't here to talk about if this was an A+ offseason for Bowen Byram.
True, but it was.
We're here to talk about if it was an A+ offseason for the Chicago Blackhawks. By the way, just pulled up their lineups on Daily Faceoff, which obviously not an official depth chart or anything. He is not currently listed on either power play.
Yeah, we'll update at some point.
It'll update at some point. But the important thing is,
I go to Puckpedia, which is an actual good source, and they have him on first pair, and then they have him on PP1. So
I will say Daily Faceoff does have Patty Kane on PP1.
I think Puckpedia does as well, but we'll get to him, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bowen Byram is on power play unit 2, according to Daily Faceoff. Power play unit.
Yeah, well, they're dumb.
Damn, get off Daily Faceoff. How dare you do
you
good work that I use often?
That is so. Who are you gonna put? You gonna put Vlasic or Rinzel? They're gonna be your QB1 of your power play. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I don't know who has a higher ceiling there. I know that's not the conversation that we need to be having.
I'm just saying, Daily Faceoff, more like Daily Fuck Off.
Daily Fuck Off. That's pretty good. You should
pretty good.
You should trademark that.
Yeah.
Real quick here though. Let me just one second, Mike. Just hold your horses for just 1 second here, all right? So last year Vlasic was a -12, -16 on the ice.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do
that. What about Artyom? 20-year-old right shot defenseman.
Stop. Sure, maybe they'll pull Korchinski out of the press box and he can fucking do it. Get out of here.
Remember when Korchinski was going to be the guy? He was
supposed to be the dude.
The guy. But now Artyom is.
USA.
Whose last name I struggle to pronounce, so I'm staying away from it. Who last year in 68 games had 24 points and was a -41.
That's not great.
I'm going to say that again, Mike. He was a -41 in 68 games.
Yeah, I ran that through my model. It's not good.
No, that's not good. But future power play 1 defenseman, Artyom Levshinov. God,
okay.
He did have 2 points on the power play. So how do you feel about that?
I don't feel anything. They have one good defenseman now, and he doesn't.
How dare you? They have at least
one good
two
defenseman.
good defensemen.
Right, but their best defenseman is really good on offense and just solid on defense. But handful of times, not even a handful of times. When you play 82 games, I probably guess about at least 30 times you're gonna get caught with your pants down because they don't have the right guys on the ice with them, and it's just gonna be a turnover, puck going the other way, breakaway. Luckily, Spencer Knight's a dude, but still, he can only do so much.
So just for argument's sake here, right?
Okay.
Obviously, you take Cale Makar over Bowen Byram. Obviously, you take Quinn Hughes over Bowen Byram. Obviously, you take Miro Heiskanen over Bowen Byram.
Yes. Obviously, you take Rasmus Dahlin over Bowen Byram.
I'm just talking about from this division, but yes.
Oh, okay, yes.
Devon Taves? You taking Devon Taves over?
Dude, Taves doesn't have the offensive impact, but I'd say if you want to talk about a more
you just right now
rounded,
you're starting a team. And you get a mystery box you have to open, and every mystery box holds 2 players. You get one, and the other you don't get. You open the mystery box, the first 2 are Devon Taves and Bowen Byram.
I'd like to put a bunch of caveats on that. Be well, what else do I have on the team?
This is the first box. You get nothing else on the team.
First box. Shit. Devon Taves. I've seen him do it before.
Okay, Brock Faber.
Probably Brock Faber.
Jesus. Roman
They
Yossi.
overpaid for Byram. He's an old man, and
he's an old man
of a defense. He's an old man and overrated. So yeah, I'll take Byram over old man Roman Yossi. You're probably about to tell me he's only 32, but fuck Essa Lindell.
Let's see, how old is Roman Yossi? Roman Yossi is 36 years old.
Exactly, old man Roman Yossi. No, I'm going to take Bowen Byram.
Okay, so now that we've officially ranked Bowen Byram as the 6th best goalie in his own division.
Yeah.
Sixth best in his own. I said goalie, didn't I? 6th best in his own division, and that's only going through a handful of the other teams. Maybe there's some other guys on. I don't know. Nah, never mind.
No
Maybe
one knows
Utah
who plays for Utah, Adam.
Yeah,
No one knows who plays for
does Utah have a defenseman that you take over him? Mackenzie Weegar?
People only know
Mikhail
they're
Sergachev?
like Utah. No, they're like Utah. Yeah, Clayton Keller,
Uh-huh.
Connor Vermelka, and that's the whole team.
How the Logan Cooley erasure.
Mm,
They have Nick
Fair
Schmaltz and Nate Schmidt. And those are
what-
two
what a
different people.
Terrible last name. Fucking Schmaltz. Like, it was so bad.
I'm guessing you take Bowen Byram over Mikhail Sergachev.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bowen Byram's probably like the 5th best defenseman in this division.
I mean, when I
Depending
gave you
on
the
your
names, you
mileage
ranked him
on-
6th.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I guess 6. I mean, it depends on your mileage on Morrissey, but
I forgot about Morrissey. I take Morrissey over Bowen Byram.
probably, yeah.
Anyways, he's making $12.5 million, and they traded 3 picks for him. And sorry, 2 picks and Louis
2 picks.
Crevier.
Yeah, who Crevier just kind of plans out to just be like a big dude who can skate and hit people. So
So he's basically what I would be on the NHL.
Yeah.
Buffalo, of course, used both of those picks, which Mike is very happy about. But we're not here to talk about those picks. Mike, let's talk
Yeah,
about
we're
this
not.
Bowen Byram thing. Off the strength of, without talking about any of the other things they did, off the strength of just trading 2 picks and Louis Crevier for Bowen Byram and Jordan Greenway. Jordan Greenway has a pseudo salary dump.
Mhm.
And then signing Bowen Byram to the most expensive defense contract. Maybe outside of Eric Carlson, he might make more. But
maybe.
how do you feel about the Blackhawks offseason off of the Bowen Byram addition?
Well, I mean, I will say in general, I expected to go in on the Blackhawks a lot harder, but we'll get to more details about that. I think the Byram trade, I still think they gave up a bit for him. I think they overpaid a little bit for Byram on the extension, and then also, I mean, it just opens the door to like the question of why trade and give Byram that big contract when you had number 4 overall and you could have got one of the top 2 defensemen in that draft and paid him a lot less. That's the big question. Now you could push back and argue what we do sometimes is like, do you want to take the lottery ticket on the potential of a guy, or do you want to take the guy who you know what you're getting? So I understand that. But for a team in the position they're in, I mean, they're still best case scenario 2 years out from being anything competitive. So I probably would have went ahead and just kept the 4th round pick, or the 4th overall pick, but that's just me.
And I think that's where the argument comes in here, right? Because the reason you turn 4 and 45 and Louis Crevier into Bowen Byram and then pay Bowen Byram 12.5 is because one day you have to, like, Kyle Davidson has to convert from rebuild to compete.
Mhm.
And that, there's probably starting to be some heat on his chair. So, which there should be because he makes bad decisions. But I think that, like, that's where you get into a move like that is when you are saying to yourself, I don't have 2 off seasons to get good anymore. They need to see improvement this year or I am going to be in the unemployment line.
Yeah, I think what Blackhawks ownership wants to see, whoever that is, Michael Jordan or I don't know, Mike Ditka, is I don't think they expect to make the playoffs next year, but they're going to want to see a team that fights for it, that ends up like in that like those 3 teams right outside of the playoffs. That's what they're going to want to show they're moving in the right direction. And then the following year 2, they're going to expect them to be fighting and actually get a playoff spot, even if it's a wild card. So like if this year happens and they're in the basement again and they're sitting there with a $12.5 million Bowen Byram contract, and as we're about to talk out paying Patty Kane $8 million a year, Davidson's probably gone. That's probably it for a good old Kyle.
And like they have done a lot and made a lot of picks, and last year they were a 72-point team.
Not good.
Not good. They were 10 points behind, second to last in their own division.
Yeah, and they have all these moves. Do you want to get into the signings real quick? Can we go ahead and jump
Yeah,
to that?
let me burn through those. So the other trade they did, like I said, Andre Burakovsky to Ottawa for a 6th round pick. They signed Bowen Byram to a 6-year, 12.5 AAV contract that starts next year. Signed Cole Smith to a 3x3, Ian Cole to a 1x4 to make the Cole pair. I know that they're not both defensemen, but it'd be fun if they were defensemen. They signed Patty Kane to 2x8, 16 million total for Patty Kane. And Connor Bedard got a 5x15 with no protections for trades. You can trade whenever you want.
Really?
Well, okay, so it's a thing with the CBA where until your UFA deal, so until you could be a UFA, you can't have any trade protections in the CBA. So even if you sign an extension that starts before your contract would have started, if you sign your RFA tender, still until the year you would be eligible for your first UFA deal, you can't have trade protections.
Gotcha.
So if Bedard had signed an 8-year deal, the last 3 years would have trade protections, but since he signed a 5-year deal, none of them do.
Yeah.
Is that a good enough explanation?
That's a very good explanation, actually.
I did my homework. So that's all their moves that they made. With if you didn't listen to last week's pod where we did the Pacific, basically we're only talking about moves that happened after the final game of the Stanley Cup Final, in which the Portland Trail Blazers won their first cup. And so only after that started, and then only any signings over 1 million AAV. So we're not doing any of the vet minimum stuff.
Yeah.
So those are all their moves this offseason, Mike. What is it that you felt so compelled to discuss? Connor Bedard? Is that what you want to talk about?
Well, no, I mean, they got the Bedard thing done, which was good. The term's not crazy. And the trade protection, like you said, because of the circumstances of the CBA, isn't bad. We'll see if he eventually hits that ceiling people hoped he would. I mean, all these moves they made.
It's going to make it really hard for him to hit the ceiling. Is that he's so small, the ceiling's very far away, you see? Like the distance from the top of his head to the ceiling is so far.
Yeah. The Patty Kane signing was just entirely, like, I'm not saying it was entirely, but I do think that was like all right, this will buy us some patience with the fan base because they'll be happy that Patty Kane's coming home to finish his career. $8 million a year, I think, is a little high. But like I said, they're still 2 years out from competing, so that'll be off the books then. Still, it leaves them with a projected cap space of only 2.4, which I don't think is great. But they have a lot of moves they can still make. This team owns next year, based on how they have 3 first-round picks to pay, depending on how the conditions shake out for the pick with Edmonton. So they could have up to 3, at least 2. And then they have 2 seconds and 2 thirds. So they have a lot of draft capital come next year. So maybe if they see something moving this year and they want to get frisky and make some moves, they could.
I will say
this
also,
roster overall just still isn't very good.
With that specific conversation, because of the way that cap accrues in the league, by the trade deadline, they would have enough room for $11 million.
Okay.
So they're not like
to work with.
Legitimately hard capped if they really wanted to make a push at the trade deadline, but they're not as flush with cap space as they were like a year or 2 ago when, they didn't have to pay Connor Bedard $15 million despite the fact the guy's never been on a 100-point pace.
Yeah.
Once again, Macklin Celebrini, not a giant guy, younger than Connor Bedard, scored 100 points last year. Connor Bedard last season only played 69 games, once again missing a chunk of games, and was only on an 89-point pace. Still a point a game, not a 100-point season.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can see them starting to put some pieces together. Like, they're building a center spine that's not terrible. Bedard, Nazar, Friendel. I got time of day for Anton Friendel. I'm a Friendel guy. So they're kind of building something, but the roster it's just not strong from top to bottom. So, like, I see no way in hell this team makes the playoffs next year. I do think going forward, like you said, because come trade deadline, the way their cap's going to look, going the next season, the way the cap's going to look, plus the draft ammunition they have, there could be more moves coming. I guess the big question, if you're a Blackhawks fan, is do you really trust Kyle Davidson to do the right things with those pieces? And as of right now, I'd say no, I don't. But we'll see.
What in your head? What is the definitive Kyle Davidson move now? Is it drafting Bedard or is it trading for Bowen Byram?
I wouldn't say drafting Bedard because he just wasn't that his first year? He just fell into that.
Yeah, but he still had the number 1 overall pick on this generational guy who turned out to not be so generational.
He still has time there's still time there, but Yeah, but he just
I don't know.
fell into that pick, and
89-point
there
pace.
was like
21 years
going
old.
into that,
Already on IR.
going into that draft, there was like no question, like that's who you're taking 1-1. So we just fell into that. I feel like, I don't know, is his most notable move trading number 4 overall and a package for Bowen Byram? We'll see how that works.
So 24-25, Connor Bedard, 67 points in 82 games.
Mhm.
Maybe Bedard's just not good, man. You know?
What about 25-26?
25-26, he had 75 points, 69 games. It was an 82 or 89 point pace.
I mean, that's still over a point a game.
Okay,
You're
but
gonna
it's
hate on
not
that?
good. Like,
I
you're
know, I'm
one
sorry he
seed with the
didn't
number 1
have
overall
200
pick.
points in 40 games, but dude,
Fucking
like,
look at Macklin Celebrini.
yeah, give him a little more time. Like, I'm not going to throw him out of the
Celebrini's
window
younger.
right now. I know,
Maybe-
but like by a year.
Maybe if Bedard could skate through contact, he would have more points.
The guy who lives in Chicago hates Connor Bedard.
Anyways, Mike, we're 30 minutes into the podcast and we haven't gotten to our
Yeah,
first team. So
I gave him a C-.
I also gave him a C-, which I now
Yeah.
kind of looking at this feels generous. But my Bowen Byram thing is like they had to do something, right?
Yeah.
Like you had to make some kind of move to improve the team, and you might have overpaid for him. I mean, you did overpay for him, but
Mhm.
you had to improve the team. I like the Patty Kane deal. Eight's like sticker shot, just because we're not used to seeing aging small winger get
Mhm.
8 per year, but in a league where Macklin Celebrini can get 18.5 million, 10
Mhm.
less million per year for the Twilight Years of Patty Kane doesn't hurt too bad.
Yeah. And the trajectory they're on, guys they have coming off the books when they're probably actually going to hope to be competitive, I think it all works out fine. So I think they overpaid for Byram a little bit, so that's why I went from C to C-.
You know what? I'm giving him a D+.
Damn. All right. Just fucked Kyle Davidson.
Well, Connor Bedard's not very good, and they paid him 15 a year. Bowen Byram's not a
Not
1D,
very
and they
good.
paid him 12.5 a year.
All right.
Well, Bedard's making more than Brady Tkachuk and Matthew Tkachuk
Okay. Well,
And-
Brady Tkachuk's still on his old contract. Like, you can't compare
and
those
Sasha
two.
Barkov.
That's like saying he's making more than Nathan McKinnon, but Nathan McKinnon signed his contract years ago. So
Okay, but he is.
next time,
Which means that's a worse
but
contract.
next time around, Nathan, right? But they're doing it based on caps going up. They're doing it based on that. This is all the Flyers' fault because they offered Carlson $4.5 billion.
Not
It's
to
all the
spoil-
Flyers' fault.
Not to spoil a podcast that's weeks away, but I am giving the Flyers an A just off the fact that they did that.
Yes, I love it.
All right, Mike, next up, the Winnipeg Jets, everyone's most forgotten team.
Oh God, I got some stuff to say here.
June 29th, they traded David Gustafson to Pittsburgh for Jack St. Ivy. Great
Who
hockey
cares
name.
about that?
They signed Stuart Skinner to a 2-year, $3.75 million per year deal. Mario Ferrara
Only
to a
$3 million
3x4.
more than Stuart Sinner's worth. Sorry.
Vigo Bjork to a 3 by 1.075, and Cole Perfetti to a
Saskatchewan
5 by 6.
Mhm.
Mike, what do you think of these moves? What do you think of these? the
Real
things
quick,
they got
let's
going
cover
on
the
here?
trades. Oh wait, they made like literally none that
They made
you
the
would
one
have
I,
even talk about.
I listed it. I said it.
Yeah.
David Gustafson for Jack St. Ivy.
So like let's get into these Winnipeg Jets, right? They are in such no man's land right now because they're not in a spot where they're like, now's the time to go rebuild. But they also didn't do anything to improve a team that has absolutely no depth. Like next season, it's entirely going to fall on the shoulders of can Hellebuck and our top three, our top line of Scheifele, Velarde, and Connor get it done. I guess we'll throw Morrissey in that. So basically, like that core five has to save the team. Their depth is terrible, and like they didn't do anything to improve that. But they also didn't do anything to signal we're going to rebuild this. Like the one move they could have made would have been to move Hellebuck and say, we'll move Hellebuck for something and then hope that we can get solid play out of a cheap goalie. But at the same time, they're like, oh, our defense like as a whole sucks. So we're probably not going to get solid play out of a cheap goalie. So what do? Like there's a no man's land. Like this team is going to fight for a wild card spot next season. Best case scenario, they're wild card 2 and get knocked out in the first round again.
Yeah, who's the fifth best skater on this team? So you don't get Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabriel Velarde, or John Morrissey.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the fifth best skater?
I mean, is it probably like what, Cole Perfetti or
maybe Nino
Iafallo?
Niederreiter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Iafallo's not bad, but it's like maybe a guy on their third line is like their fifth best skater.
Yeah, it's just rough going down the line on this roster is just not good. And we've been saying that for years though, when we've watched them. Even when they won the President's Trophy and got to the playoffs and got bounced in the first round, you just saw it. Like there's
I think they made the second round, didn't they? Or did they get bounced in the first?
I'm pretty sure they got bounced in the first. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's just a difference between once you get to the playoffs and like if that depth's not there, you're just done. You're cooked, and it's never been there with them. And they came into this offseason and it's like, we're not sure which way to go, so we're going to do nothing. It's like, dope. Hopefully someone doesn't get hurt, because if like one of your top 5 guys gets hurt, then you're not making the playoffs. If they all stay healthy, congratulations on being a wild card 2, you jabronis.
I don't even know if this team's a wild card 2, man.
It's debate. That's why I said best case scenario.
Yeah.
It's a wild card 2 and bounced in the first round to probably like your wild card 2, you're probably facing like Colorado, Dallas, and you're getting bounced in the first round. Maybe Dallas. We'll get to them later.
I'm just looking at their power play too, and it is fucking bleak. Nino Niederreiter, Bjork, Lambert, Rosen, and Neil Pionk as the quarterback of power play too.
I mean, like their notable contract they gave out this year was to Cole Perfetti with the 5x6, and I mean Cole Perfetti's good. He's solid. That's a good depth piece, but I mean 32 points in 68 games. It's not like he's
no
really
Connor
moving
Bedard.
the needle there. He's no Connor Bedard. Probably because he's bigger. 5'11", 185. Yeah, he's bigger.
Bryce Young might be bigger.
No. Bryce Young stood on his tippy toes at the combine.
Yeah, it's not good. And here's the thing, like I can't give them like an outright disastrous, like an F- or anything for this offseason.
No.
Would you let me give them an incomplete, or is it like you got to give them a letter grade?
I gave them a D if you want.
Like they have to trade Hellebuck, right? There is no way that we are sitting here fucking October 21st going, hockey's back. The sound of skate on ice, brother. Ugh, it just makes my heartstrings sing. Can't wait to watch tonight on Tuesday night when the Winnipeg Jets take on the Nashville Predators with Connor Hellebuck making a season debut. There's no way that's happening, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like I said, it's the only piece they could move out of their big names of trade value. Because if you move Connor Scheifele or Velarde, you immediately just like extremely hamper your ability to score goals. So it's like, all right, like I said, move Hellebuck and hope you get some solid play out of a cheaper goaltender. But I mean, they scoffed at what I thought was a pretty good deal from Buffalo, centered around number 4 overall and Jack Quinn, and they don't like that. And the ironic part is they don't have a strong like blue line top to bottom, and they could have drafted a defenseman at 4 overall who not 100% sure, but potentially could have been ready to go year 1. We don't know.
On top of that, right now, hold on, I'm pulling it up. They have the 28th ranked prospect pool by The Athletic. So they're bad now and have no prospects on getting better.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be painful.
The only teams
to
behind
go rebuild, but
are the Knights, Stars, Oilers, and Avs. 4 teams that are going all in on competing for cups, while the Jets were like, it'd be nice if they made the playoffs.
At some point, you have to look reality in the face and be like, Connor's 29, Scheifele's 33. Hellebuck's on the other side of 30 now, right?
Yeah, he's like 32.
He's 33. Yeah, he's 33. So, like, if you don't make this roster better, at some point you have to start shelling out those pieces and try to just get younger and go full rebuild, which right now they're not young and they don't have a prospect pool, like you just said. So I gave them a D, a big fat D.
Can I give them an incomplete, or do I have to give them a letter grade?
You got to give them a letter grade. That's not how this works.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll give him a D also. I'll give him a D plus, just because You know, the people don't like when we agree, Mike.
Okay,
They want us to argue.
gotcha.
They're going to love the Connor Bedard segment. All right, Mike, next up. Everyone's favorite retirement home, the Nashville Predators. Strap in for this one, folks. They made a lot of trades. All right, so they acquired Ross Colton and Isaac Posh from the Avs for Magnus Corona, a 26th and 27th third. They acquired Jack Drury and Chase Bradley, as well as a 29 third-round pick from I'm seeing here, the Colorado Avalanche, for Fyodor Chekhov and Zachary Leheroux. They acquired Adam Edstrom from the New York Rangers for Massimo Rizzo and a 2026 fifth-round pick. They acquired Nils Hoglander from the Vancouver Canucks for a 2029 third. And they acquired Maverick Bork and Mike's favorite player, Ilya Lyubushkin, from Dallas for a 27 second and a 28 third. So they traded away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks to acquire players.
Yeah.
Mike, your thoughts on the trades?
Well, I mean, Chris McFarland came in from Colorado and he said, I'm bringing my depth. I'm bringing my bottom six with me, baby. Drury, Ross Colton, saddle up, boys. Let's go get it.
Yeah. Do you think that when they made the agreement for him to interview for that job, they were like, all right, you can go, but you have to take all the contracts we don't want with you?
Yeah. The guys who are going to want more than we are willing to give them, take them with you. A lot of trades, I actually don't really hate them. I mean, when we get to signings, you can nitpick with some of the numbers they gave, like a Drury, etc. But I don't really hate. I mean, they turned around and gave Bork a 6 by 5.5. I think that's a pretty solid deal for him too. I don't hate that either.
Right. The thing about their offseason is, they made their old team actually a hair younger. You kind of lock in on Lyubushkin and Kerfoot, who are older, but Drury, Bjork, Ross Colton, Nils Hoglander, all those guys are under 30.
Yeah.
And all of these trades, they traded away a lot of second, third round picks for this, but they basically rebuilt the entire bottom half of their roster. I mean, they traded for 3 centers who are going to be playing behind Ryan O'Reilly. They traded for a third and fourth line, or two fourth line wingers and a third line winger, as well as probably a bottom of the lineup right shot defense, you would say, in Lyubushkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they really just made a lot of moves on the margins, and the question is, how do you feel about those moves? You know, they gave up a lot of picks for those moves, so they're definitely saying we want to be better than we were last year.
Yeah, I don't hate those moves. I also don't hate they didn't make any bad signings outside of the extensions, and even the extensions maybe you could nitpick, but I still don't think they were that bad. They're sitting there with 7.6 in projected cap space, and I think this team's going to come up to the deadline and be one of the hottest talked about teams. You have O'Reilly at 4.5, Stamkos 8 mil, Forsberg at 8.5. He's 32, so maybe they'll try to hang on to him. But I mean, I could see all 3 of those guys being in conversations for we're going to ship them off to a contender who really wants them so they can try to win another cup. And this team could go into next offseason with a crap load of cap space, a crap load of picks. Because right now they do need picks. Their pick pool's kind of low. Their prospect, those 2 things could get some work. But I think they have put themselves in a position to do that. And so at first when the offseason started, I was like, what is McFarland doing? But as when I stepped back and reevaluate everything, I was like, oh, he might have this team on a good path to rebuild and for that rebuild to not take 5 years.
Yeah. And like you said there, some of the interesting stuff here is Bjork, through somewhat of the same thing that we were talking about previously, has no trade protection. Ryan O'Reilly, no trade protection. Jack Drury, this year, no trade protection. Starting next year, he has a no trade clause, but this year, no trade protection. Alex Kerfoot, no trade protection. Nils Hoglander, no trade protection. All of these guys are imminently movable if you decide you want to move them.
Yeah, and going into next year, I think the only notable guy they're going to have to worry about locking down is Evangelista. Evangelista. And even then, what he's making now is, I mean, he's making 3. He's probably not going to make, he'll probably make like what, 6 with the way the current like numbers are with the cap and everything.
Well, it
But
depends on
nothing
if he can
crazy.
continue his pace of scoring almost as much as Connor
Exactly.
Bedard.
Yeah, well, it's also like terrifying that he's their top right wing right now. But like he's only 24. They'll probably try to lock him down to like $5 million, and then like if they move off some of these old men, Marchessault, O'Reilly, Stamkos, they're going to put themselves in a great position to either keep making picks and trading for prospects and get young and try to rebuild this thing, or even next year be like, hey, we got money, we're about to fucking spend it.
Yeah, I don't hate any of these moves. So just to run through the actual contracts, they signed over $1 million. Justin Barron, 1 by 1.575. Maverick Bourque, 6 by 5.5. Alex Kerfoot, 2 years, $3.5 million a year. Jack Drury, 5 years, $4.5 million per year.
Mm-hmm.
So you would say the one there is Bourque getting 6 years as the term, but 5.5 isn't a bad number for him.
Yeah.
Cap's going up,
like,
you know?
True. And they still have Soros on this relatively big contract to 7.7. He's only in like the second year of it. Dude's also only 31.
Yeah,
so if
but he was
flip this
bad
roster
last year.
But he could get better. He could bounce back. Goalies are weird. And if you can like flip this roster quickly, like I would try everything in my power to get off 9 million from fucking Roman Yossi, but I've never been a Roman Yossi fan because he's not a real defenseman.
He's also 36 years old.
Unlike my boy Bushi, that's a real defenseman right
there. Mike, what letter grade do you give the Nashville Predators for their offseason of trading everyone?
I gave him a B minus.
I gave him a B, just flat B.
There you go. Yeah.
They did, like they kind of did they did nothing they were supposed to, right? Like is the best way to put it. Like they didn't get off of their older guys. They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't go full tank. In fact, they traded away a ton of picks. But the roster is just straight up better, and maybe you're not competing for a cup, but you are a more competitive team going into 2026 than you were going into 2025.
Yeah, I went from a B to a B minus just because I wouldn't have hated it if they moved one of those old expensive vets. But outside of that, I thought they had a solid offseason. So
yeah, those are trade deadline guys.
Probably.
Yeah. All right, Mike, the St. Louis Blues, who I believe traded their best player to the Buffalo Sabres. Is this correct? This is what I'm hearing here?
No, that's not correct.
Where did they trade Robert Thomas to? I don't have that written down.
They traded him to St. Louis.
Huh.
They traded him to themselves.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Mike, the St. Louis Blues, here are their trades. They traded Jordan Kyrou to the Washington, I almost called them the Commanders, the Washington Capitals, for Connor McMichaels, Milton Gastrin, and the 16th pick in the draft. They acquired Mason McTavish from Anaheim for 15 and 29 in the draft, and they acquired Brandon Carlo for 73 and 76 in the draft.
I'm never going to live that one down.
For those of you who are not devotees of the Basky podcast, after Toronto acquired Brandon Carlo, Mike gave them an A+. It's his favorite trade.
That trade deadline pod, I was so sure Carlo was the defenseman they needed, and I still like Brandon Carlo. Solid third pair D. But
how do you feel about acquiring him for the 73rd and 76th pick?
That's fine.
Well,
I think Toronto gave up more for him. I'd have to go way back to look.
Yeah, Toronto gave up
like
at least one first for him.
Yeah, I think they gave up a first for him. So wow, nice job. I think was that Dubas still? Probably was Dubas. Fucking dumbass.
So, Mike, what do you think of these trades? What? Give me like a fuck, marry, kill for these trades, or I'm sorry, for the Disney audience, a boff, marry, kill.
I guess I'll kill Carlo just because it makes the least of an impact. I'll fuck the McTavish trade because
I appreciate you changing up your language there to say the McTavish trade because the first time,
yeah, cause I was about to say something a little more inappropriate. Just because it's like a 50-50 gamble. You give up 2 firsts for him, and if McTavish hits the ceiling, great move. If he doesn't, not a great trade. And then I will marry the Kyrou trade because if it seemed like he was out the door, whatever, move off of him. And they got a prospect in a first, and then Connor McMichael's actually pretty damn good, and they turned around and inked him to a reasonable 6-year contract.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly defensible. I would also kill Brandon Carlo, but only because I think it'd be good for the podcast. As the number one Brandon Carlo podcast.
Yeah.
I like the Kyrou trade a lot, simply because it's fun for every team involved, right? Like, McMichael's a good piece to get back. It gave the Blues the 16th pick and something to work with there, which freed them up to trade away 15. And it makes Washington more fun. So just from every aspect, I just like the Kyrou trade a lot. From a content thing. Like, maybe trading Jordan Kyrou when you don't have any leverage wasn't the greatest and you got something for it. Maybe you could have gotten more at a trade deadline. But I do like that a lot. Now, can we ding them at all for not trading away Jordan Binnington or Robert Thomas? I guess Robert Thomas is hard because he's 26? 27.
Yeah, so I had this down in my notes. I think at this point with the moves they're making, I think a Robert Thomas trade, like you said, only 26, I think is and term left on that deal extremely doubtful. I think the two names, like I think Parayko's like a 50-50 to move. I would try to move Binnington. I mean, he's an expiring deal, so there's a team that would probably be interested in taking on his $6 million contract who wants to get an experienced goalie in net. Also,
he only has a 10-team no
what's
trade.
What's his face? Only a 10 trade.
Which we know Buffalo's going to be on, so we just need to figure out what the other 9 teams are.
Yeah, he's just going to be like, they have palm trees? Nah, fuck that shit.
Why is Buffalo on everyone's no trade?
I don't know.
It's like hockey time.
All of the signature food there is unhealthy, so they're like, I don't want to put on 20 pounds.
Is it because they hate fracking? Do NHL players hate fracking? Yeah,
they
or
probably
tennis?
all love it. The other name is like but the problem is I don't know who would take this, but you have a 34-year-old Cam Fowler who's going to be making $6.1 million for the next 3 years.
I thought you were going to go with Pavel Buchnevich. Wow, I really fucked up Buchnevich's last name there.
That was close enough, but like there are names there. I just think of all of them, like Thomas is the most doubtful to actually get moved. I think they're going to.
Although you would get a bounty to get to dump him.
Oh yeah, you get a huge haul, but I think with some of the moves they made this offseason, they're trying to be like, all right, over the next year, we're going to try to rebuild this team around Robert Thomas.
In the St. Louis clubhouse right now, do you think they're closer to a full tank or a full title? Like, what are they discussing on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, I think they're looking at some of their young talent and some of the pieces they brought in this offseason, and they're like, hey, like with one more good year and smart moves, I think they're closer to competing for a title than they are to a full tank.
And that's why you should never be a hockey GM. Because you'll always be wrong. No, just people, generally. No one should be a hockey GM.
Just people in general?
Yeah.
Dude, they got the Snuggerud, all right? Snuggerud's legit. Don't even joke.
What's his career high in points?
He's only 22. I think Snuggerud had
in 25 or 205 games played, he's had 80 points total.
Okay, well, in 70 games this past year, he had 21 goals, 30 assists. He's only 22. That was only his second year. The previous year, he only played 7 games in the show. Snuggerud's up and coming. I'll bet money right now. He had 21 last year. Snuggerud's a 30-goal scorer next year.
Damn. Get him on Montreal.
USA.
Additionally, they signed Jonathan Bergeron to a 1-year, $2 million deal. Ross Johnson to a 3-year, $2 million per year deal. And Connor McMichaels, after trading for him, they extended him 6 years, $6.75 million per year. I don't really think we need to talk about any of those. The McMichaels deal is probably going to end up looking good if he, lives up to his potential. Last year he was, 32 assists, 14 goals, 46 points.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The only other thing they did was before the timeline that we're talking about when they got the Dylan Holloway extension done to lock him down. So yeah, they really didn't do much signing wise. It was all like trades. I mean, I like this team when you look at it, you're like, oh, like they're young. Like they have some guys who are older who I think they may be looking at shipping out, or just like Binnington if they don't move him after next year, they're not going to re-sign him. But they do have some guys who are still in their prime, like a Robert Thomas. But around that, they're really young. And I guess to jump before, like I gave them a B-. I like what St. Louis is doing right now.
I gave him a flat C.
A flat C.
Yeah. Or a C flat, as we
right.
would say in piano.
You heard it here first, people. Adam hates Mason McTavish.
I like guys who could score more than half a point per game as your 1C.
McTavish isn't going to be their 1C. That's Robert Thomas.
For now, until they trade him for Connor Hellebuck.
Until they trade him.
Jordan Bennington for Connor
trading
Hellebuck. Who says no? Who says no? Like, legitimately.
Everybody in the world chimes in and says no.
Bennington for Hellebuck at the trade deadline. Bennington's got 1 year left.
Phone.
Winnipeg gets off the Hellebuck contract.
Dude, if I was St. Louis and they offered me Hellebuck for Bennington, I'd hang up the phone. Like, how dare you try to get Winnington from me? All right.
He's losing 10 in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I like blaming Bennington for that, although, as we all know, notable health freak Nate McKinnon just doesn't know how to shoot at an open net.
Whiffed by it. It was pretty embarrassing. That probably lived rent-free in his head. That's why they got eliminated by the vibes-fueled Knights.
Just woke up every night screaming, thinking of Jack Eichel.
That man straight Zach Wilson seeing ghosts right now. Was that Zach Wilson who said that?
No, that was Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold.
Oh, that was Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold. Shit. Dude, we live in a weird world right now.
You mean where Sam Darnold has more Super Bowl rings than Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen combined?
Combined? Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. And still, I'm like, that might be the third best team in that division. Anyways, Cardinals number 2, obviously. Mike, the Utah Mammoth.
The Mammoth, yeah.
The Mammoth. They started their offseason by trading J.J. Peterka to Boston for pick number 23 and a 2028 first-round pick. 2 firsts for J.J. Peterka.
Really? That was a little surprising that they just gave up on him after 1 year. They're like, nah.
I mean, when you get offered two firsts for J.J. Peterka, you probably should take that deal.
It's tough to say no. Fair point, yeah.
So you starting to think you guys won that deal in Buffalo? Or
we just turned around and flipped Michael Kesselring, but we did get Doan out of it, so yeah, we won.
You got Josh Doan. Josh Doan's the best player involved in that when Kesselring was supposed to be.
Yeah.
They acquired Sebastian Kosa from Detroit for a first-round pick. And they acquired Vincent Trocheck from the New York Rangers for Sean Dursey, Jesus, Cole Buden, and a 2027 third-round pick. They signed a lot of people. We'll get to that in a second. Mike, what do you think of the Peterka trade? 2 firsts for Peterka. Come on, give it up.
I mean,
give it up for the Utah Mammoth.
If you didn't feel that you were getting Jason Peterka, to use his government name, if you didn't feel like you got out of him what you expected, then I get it. And even if they were like, oh no, we like Peterka, but I feel like when someone called and they were like 2 firsts, you're like, how much do we like Peterka?
Yeah, I mean, like, Peterka's kind of his selling point, right? 2-way, you know?
I mean, his selling point is really that he has a really nice shot. Like, I think part of the reason why Buffalo said we can move Peterka is we had guys similar to him.
Yeah. Last year, 25 goals, 22 assists, 47 total points in 82 games. For his career, he averages about a third of a goal a game, 0.62 points per game, 320 games. He makes more sense on Boston than he does on Utah. That being said, I don't know if he makes 2 first-round picks sense, especially when one of those is 2028, when the Boston Bruins are going to be bad. So that's probably going to be a pretty good pick. Probably be a pretty good pick.
Yeah, probably gonna work out. It is kind of interesting that he played 5 more games and still had less production than he did his last year in Buffalo. So
yeah,
grass isn't always greener, John Jason.
I don't know that he ever really made sense on this Utah team.
No?
Just like this is a Utah team that gets out and skates and wants to play in transition and wants the puck flying back and forth. And Peterka wants to set up and shoot.
Yeah, he works best. You get the cycle going, try to get him a high danger chance, and he has a really nice shot to bury it. He's not a kind of guy who is as much of a deadly dude, like you said, in transition. So yeah, it was just kind of a weird fit. I feel like that Buffalo trade was kind of two teams who are like based on the type of player, we have a bit of a surplus. We can move off Paterka, and they're like, yeah, we can move off Kesselring, and we'll throw Doan in there too. And then Doan turned out to be the best piece of the trade. So suck it. Shout out to Donor.
Should we quickly here talk about Vincent Trocheck?
Hey, I mean,
Vinny T.
I don't think they gave up the farm for him.
No, they definitely didn't give up the farm for him. Because they traded one pick and two guys' names that I stumbled over.
Sean Dursey.
Yeah. And he's coming off a year where he had like 1/8 or Jesus. 3/5 of a point. Trocheck didn't see much of the ice in the Olympics.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't see much of the ice, which makes sense. He's definitely taken a step back. I mean, he's never scored more than 26 goals in his career, but you kind of look at him as like, a tough dude who on a less strong team is going to be on your second line. On a good team is going to be probably on your third. I don't hate it based on what they gave up on him. What does he still have left? He has 3 years left at 5.625. I think that's a reasonable number. I'm not sure how much he brings. I mean, he might fit more what Utah wants to do playing style. So that was probably the idea.
And they're going to probably have him on first or second line. Actually, God. So just real quick, because I want to rattle these off too. Here's other signings. They made a shitload of signings over $1 million.
Yeah.
Kyler Yamamoto, 2 years, 1.75 a year. Nick DeSimone, 2 years, $1 million a year. Sebastian Cossa, 2 years, $2 million after acquiring him. Kevin Stinland, 1 year, $2.75 million. Anders Lee, 3 years, $5.4 million. Brett Hayden, 1 year, $4.775 million per year. Andrew Peak, 1 year, $1 million, former Boston Bruin. And John Marino, 8 years, $6.75 per year. So here's why I want to talk about that real quick. I think where their mistake is now that they are pushing players who fit their play style better further down the lineup for players like Anders Lee and Vincent Trocheck, who I don't think do.
Yeah. The Anders Lee thing is a little weird to me. Like, it felt very like, former captain. Let's get him in there. Experience. Yeah. Lead the boys. But it's not like they're putting him into a locker room with a crap load of young talent. Like, when we really look at it, this team's not that young. Like, yeah, Cooley's 22, Gunther's 23, Keller's in his prime at 28. But when you go through it, it's a lot of guys who are pushing 30 or over 30. It's not that young of a team.
This team is built so much. Like, it feels like a new team because they moved to Utah. But this team's built so much on, like, the shit years for Arizona. So a lot of their best players are in the prime. I mean, Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley, their two best players. Keller's 28, Cooley's 22. One of those guys is going to be playing with Anders Lee on their line.
Yeah, like right now they have, according to the resources I have up, they have a second line of Cooley, Gunther, and Lee. So it's like these two young dudes and then a man who's going to have a walker on the ice.
And I don't know where they haven't slotted in, but like that should be Logan Krause's spot. Like, let's get guys who can run together instead of Cooley and Gunther on a breakout with Nate Schmidt trailing and then Anders Lee making it past the red line just in time for the goal to go in.
Yeah, like a little bit of their moves this season feel very 200-foot hockey, old man yelling at the clouds kind of decisions. I'm not gonna argue with that. I literally wrote down this team. I don't think they got better. I don't think they got worse. I think they're once again a wild card team. Fighting for wild card 2 or 1. That's it.
Yeah, what they really need is they need Vejmelka to click in a way that he did not last season. And they need Logan Cooley to take a step forward. At which point I will hear an argument about how this team is more competitive, but everyone's going to be talking to themselves into a hipster pick for this team to finish in the top 3 in their division. And this is not happening, man. It's just not happening. Yeah. Just because they were the best wild card team last year does not mean that's going to happen again.
The they were the best wild card team in a West that was just so weak once you got past like the top 3 teams in the Central.
Yeah,
So.
and they went over to the other division, had an easy matchup, and then got bounced.
Yeah.
So. They also like kind of on in general here, the way that they made moves is like they would make a move I didn't like and they'd make a move I did like, but it would never go like in either direction too strongly. But I basically came out on the other side feeling like it was almost like your feet in the freezer, head in the oven, where they came out average, but everything was either a move I liked or didn't like. Nothing was just like, yeah, that move's fine.
That tracks with me. I gave him a C.
Yeah,
So
like can someone explain? Can someone explain this John Marino extension to me? Like $6.75 million. You know, cap's going up. It's not as extreme as it used to be, but that's going to pay him through his age 37 season. He's coming off under a point or a half point per game. He has never had a season over half a point per game. Like he's like got a little bit of the advanced analytics bump to him. He has 54% expected goals percentage.
He actually plays defense.
Yeah, but like, did you have to pay him 6.75 when he's going into a contract here?
It's a little high, but you could turn around and be like, well, this like free agent pool was kind of the shits from a UFA standpoint, not even just on defense, just across the boards. So pay a little bit over to keep a guy who we like and works.
How do you feel about the Kyler Yamamoto signing? Does that get the blood,
No.
flowing for you?
That does absolutely nothing for me.
What's your favorite Kyler Yamamoto memory?
Not even know. I mean, he was on Edmonton for a while.
He was on Edmonton for a while.
Yeah, Connor. Yeah, go get him, Leon and Connor.
He has, by the way, in his career, one season over 60 games.
Yeah.
He has played in 2021-22, he played 81 games. Outside of that, his career high is 59 games.
I don't know if I'm about to be accurate in making this joke, but I mean, if Japan fields a hockey team, that man's going to be the number 1 player.
I also don't know if you're accurate. He appears to have been born. He appears to be born in Spokane, Washington.
But still, he could be part Japanese. Is that kind of last name?
All right, Mike. What grade did you give him?
I gave him a big old flat C, like a soda that's been left out.
I think I'm gonna give him a C minus. I really don't like the Anders Lee deal. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense for this team. I don't get the Marino deal. It doesn't make sense for this team. I don't like having Trocheck on your top line, but that's not the worst thing in the world. They just did enough to where I didn't like. I love the JJ Peterka pick or trade.
Yeah, that worked out well for him.
Yeah. Getting 2 firsts for a guy that doesn't make sense on your team. Mike, on to the important teams in this division. If you've been listening to this podcast so far, brain dump everything we've said so far because none of it matters. It's all unimportant.
Good.
We're on to the Minnesota Wild, Mike. Known
So wild
for their propensity for Russian forwards and American defensemen.
Mm-hmm.
They traded Ryan Healy to the New York Islanders for future consideration. Mike, your quick letter grade based off of that trade.
I mean, I think it's a huge win for the Islanders. I've watched future considerations play. This guy's a dude. I believe it's actually pronounced future considerations. But
oh, he's Italian.
Yeah, he's Italian and French Canadian. It's pretty crazy.
And somehow half Japanese as well.
Yeah.
They also acquired Blake Coleman, who for some reason my Google Doc autocorrected to Black Coleman. Blake Coleman at 50% retained, as well as Oli Mata from Calgary for Jacob Middleton, a 2029 second, a 27 third, and a 28 fourth.
What is it, dinner time? Why are we eating all these nothing burgers? Wasting my time.
But how do you feel about Black Coleman?
Gary Coleman?
that is a Black Coleman. That is a good point.
That's Black Coleman.
Mike, Black Coleman is going to be probably on their second line. And they retain him at 50%. That's 2.45 per year for a second line winger.
Just because someone is a second line winger doesn't mean they should be a second line winger, Adam.
There is a fall off on this team when you hit a certain point and you're like, oh my god, Kirill Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, Matt Boldy, Black Coleman, Ryan Hartman, Bobby Brink. Really hits you like
strong
that.
blue line though. Strong blue line.
Hughes, Faber, Brodin, Spurgeon, Olimata. And then,
Zachary
of course,
Bogosian.
they got the wall of Wallstedt.
Mm-hmm.
And Calvin Pickard, who they signed. Their offseason signings, Mike. Bobby Brink to a 1-year, $2.75 million deal. Calvin Pickard, 1 by 1. Zach Bogosian, 1 by 1.25. And Maxim Shabanov, 1 by 1.6.
Now you also, because it was under your $1 million threshold, so I get it. But Foligno signed a 1-year deal for $900,000. So it was Foligno, Brink, and one other dude who were 3 of their signings that they had picked up at the trade deadline. Why, Adam? Because we traded for him, so we got to resign him.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Is it the Foligno they traded for the trade deadline or the one that was already on the team?
It's Nick. It's the one they traded for at the trade deadline.
Okay.
Not Marcus.
They're
both equally old, 35 and 38.
Neither one of them, or I should say, Nick isn't actually going to play, right? He didn't play much last year.
Fourth line if he does. Yeah.
Please don't put a Foligno line out there. I get people are like, brothers on the same. Dude, come on.
The Folignos, the Timu Kachucks out there.
Did they make any moves that really like shake you to your core?
No, they didn't have a lot of cap space to work with.
Projected
right now 1.15 come start of season. Yeah, that's a big thing for me when it comes to my grade on this is the fact they still haven't gotten a Quinn Hughes extension done, so they have him for one more year at $7.85 million.
What would be the
true.
Quinn Hughes extension right now?
Because of the cap space. Now, next season, they have a crap load of contracts coming off the books next year. So we could be a year out from the Wild getting aggressive. We'll see. But, you could still ink him to his extension because he still has one more year at the 7.85.
How does that work with escrow, though? Anyways, doesn't matter. Let's just say, for argument's sake, they could.
Yeah, but they still didn't get it done. So just keep adding another log to the he's heading to New Jersey fire.
So if they have Kirill making 17,
yeah,
and they have Brock Faber making 8.5, what does Quinn Hughes get?
Well, Bowen Byram got 12.5 a year, so Quinn Hughes has to get at least 14 to 15.
I was going to say 40. if Bowen Byram's getting 12.5.
I mean, that's not an inaccurate scale, but
would you rather have
14,
one
15.
Quinn Hughes or 4 Bowen Byrams? That's how I would start arguing for this deal.
One Quinn Hughes. Yeah.
We don't talk enough about how crazy it is that they just like last year went, yeah, we'll trade for the potentially the best defenseman in the league, a 26-year-old defenseman who might be the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll make that trade.
Who at first, you shit talked him at first when he got traded. You're like, yeah, but is he really that good? And then you watched him, once he got onto a competent team, you watched him there and you watched him in the Olympics, you were like, oh my God, he's so good.
Every shift Quinn Hughes had in the Olympics was me reaching closer and closer to sports nirvana.
Dude, every time he has the puck, it's like the most exciting thing in that game.
He had the puck in the Olympics once when it was like he got it when there was a shift change going on, and it was just Quinn Hughes in open ice, and I just felt myself go, uh-oh.
Yeah. And yet he's still not, despite that, he's like a lot of other goaltenders with great offensive skills. He's not a massive defensive liability. He's more of a Cale Makar and less of a bum-ass Erik Karlsson.
Any additional thoughts here, Mike? You want to shit on Blake Coleman anymore, or are you good with that?
No, I don't want to shit on Black Coleman, but so I'll just say I gave him a C- just because I feel like their hands were tied to not be able to do much this season compared to next season, where I think they're going to have a lot more flexibility. I would have said C, but I gave him a C-. Maybe I'd actually bump that down to a D+. I'll keep it C- just because this Quinn Hughes situation is still floating up in the air. We got to get this figured out, boys.
I think it's hard to give them a grade commiserate on the fact of something they didn't do. I guess not. That's fair. I'll give him a C- as well.
Yeah.
I had him at a C because they just didn't do anything, but that shouldn't default you to a C. Not doing anything shouldn't be a passing grade, you know?
Right.
Unless future considerations really, hits the ice running.
Dude, that kid's so good. He has a 100% face-off percentage. Also a 1.97 GAA. He plays both center and goalie.
Wow. Takes the face off and then goes back into goal.
And then sprints back into the net.
Oh, Mike, the Dallas Stars.
F! Big fat F, you fucking losers. I hate this team.
I was gonna say between the two of us, arguably our least favorite team in the NHL, but you really beat me to that.
Sorry, I lost my cool there for a second, guys.
Their only trade they did, we kind of talked about earlier, which is where they traded away Maverick Bourque and Ilya Lyubushkin for a 2027 second and a 28 third. Did you want to change your thoughts on that one? Or
no, they traded away Bushi. How could you?
As for their signings of at least $1 million, strap in. This is going to be a long list, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Joel Kiviranta, 1 year, $1 million. And Jason Robertson, 1 year, $12 million. And that's the end of the list. That's all their deals over $1 million per year.
Yeah, and they signed Jason Robertson to 1 year, $12 million because a judge or whatever, an arbiter, was like, that's what he's worth, and that's what you have to give him. And now he's going to be walking to UFA next year. This team sat on their balls so hard with the Robertson thing. I say it constantly, and I'm a broken record. Get this shit done a year early, people, because then you find yourselves in these situations. It's even worse, as I've said, when Robertson, previous season, 35 goals, 80 points, right? You could have saved a little money. You kicked it down the can, and now look at him, 45 and 51 for 96 points, and now he wants a lot of money, and he deserves a lot of money. But you couldn't get it done. You couldn't get the deal done. Now he's got the 1 year. He's going to walk to unrestricted free agency. I'll be shocked if he's still in Dallas, in my personal opinion. And they were so swept up in trying to fix the Robertson mess that they could do nothing else. They're still sitting there with a negative 1.3 projected cap space. Guess what? They still don't have any, like they still haven't gotten another defenseman to help this blue line. We've been saying it since 1995. What are we doing here, people?
So last season, they were plus 6.9 expected goals per game with Robertson on the ice compared to off the ice.
Mm-hmm.
For reference sake, the best season that a Dallas Stars player has had with that number that I could find was a 10.1, which was Jason Robertson when he was 22. Why could they not get a deal done with this guy?
Because they were too busy giving, what was it? Mikko Rantanen, they gave him 12 mil, which at the time was a big deal. Isn't anymore. But Mikko Rantanen had another good season, but what are we talking about? He had 77 points, which was 2019 less than Jason Robertson. So if you're Robertson sitting there and they're trying, or this dude, who's your big trade acquisition, who's supposed to be the guys making 12, you're giving me fucking at least 14. And they couldn't probably make it work because they're looking at their cap situation. And they're like, we don't know what we're going to do. And he's going to walk. And you want to know, and the thing was, they couldn't get the extension done. Understandable. And it was even equally understandable that they couldn't find a trade because there's no team out there. All the teams out there who wanted him were like, we're not giving up the 4th round picks because they're not going to sign him to extension. We're going to wait till the trade deadline, or we're going to wait until free agency next year because they're not going to get it done.
I get routinely the GM of this team, whose name is currently escaping me. Give me 1 second. Unless you can remember it off the top of your head.
Mm-mm.
Jim Nill. The thing is, Jim Nill has done a lot of really good work, too. Wyatt Johnston just inked a 5-year extension at 8.4. Rupe Hintz at 8.45. Tyler Seguin, $9 million in the last year of his deal. I know he's a little bit older, but he had a pretty good run there for a while.
On the defense, you said $9 million. I thought you were saying his age. My bad. Okay.
Yeah. On the defense, Heiskanen under 10. Thomas Harley, for some reason, at 10. Esa Lundell, 5. Neil Lundqvist at 1. Tyler Meyer at 1.5. And I get Tyler Meyer sucks, but all these guys are paid relatively low. Ottinger at 8.25, which maybe is a little bit high for what you think of Ottinger, but he's done a great job signing all these people to bargain deals. And the reason you sign a lot of these guys to bargain deals is so that you have the ability to make sure that people like Jason Robertson and Wyatt Johnston never sniff free agency. And yet here we are, where you just cannot get to this deal with Jason Robertson, no matter what.
Yeah. Like they totally. My brain broke because in my head Ottinger's 40. He's only 27.
Yeah.
Mind
3
blown.
years younger than Delkovich.
Yeah, and is he really 3 years younger than Delkovich? 30
Yeah.
now? I'm so old. I saw that Tyler Myers was 36, and I was like, great, I'm a senior citizen. But yeah, this team, like, that took up their entire offseason, and they failed to get anything done with it. He's going to walk to free agency. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have Rantanen and Wyatt Johnson hints. Like, they have other guys on this team, but like I said, I gave them a big fat F. I think if they wanted to go into this year, like, are they good enough to still make the playoffs? Obviously, if you look at some of that top end talent, that'd be crazy if they don't make the playoffs. But after next offseason, things could get weird.
Yeah, I mean, they have Robertson going into the last year. They have Tyler Seguin going into the last year. They have Sam Steele going into the last year. And what are they going to do without Sam Steele, Mike?
Sam Steele. Steel wall. Steel curtain.
Miro Heiskanen only has 2 years left on his deal. Like, there's this team that played in the conference finals 3 out of 5 years and was, brought Jim Nill like 6 straight GM of the Year awards is going to not be around in 3 years.
And what's the move here? Like, in order to get a Robertson extension done next offseason, like, are you looking at where, like, are you going to have to move one of your high-priced defensemen in Heiskanen or Harley? You can't afford to do that because you already don't have great defensive depth.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess
mean, like you said, Sagan's 9.8 coming off the books does help. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, like, if you were just dead set, let's get this Robertson deal done, maybe you move, like, Sagan, Duchesne, and maybe that's enough. That frees up.
If you're like
$12 million.
You have to decide between moving Lindell and Harley. Who do you move? Like, contract ignored.
Lindell.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Harley's got more years on the deal and is younger. So
true. So you probably move Asa Lindell. Maybe that's the move. I don't know.
Who you also hate,
also,
I think.
Can I just say, since we're talking Dallas, Brett Hull's foot was in the crease, you pieces of shit.
Mike, you said you gave him an F?
Yeah, big fat F.
I gave him a D. It's just like they didn't like fuck anything up this offseason, but their offseason is like their offseason is like an amalgamation
fuck anything up?
Their offseason is like an amalgamation of previous fuck ups, right?
True.
Like this offseason, they didn't really fuck anything up. But they fucked up this offseason, last offseason.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair. All right.
And they lost Ilya Lyubushkin because of it.
They lost the Bushi, dude.
They lost the
Cap
Bushi.
casualty.
What are they going to do without the Bushi? I hope Ilya Lyubushkin hears this podcast somehow.
He's like, man, these guys love me.
I should send them $1 million. Oh, okay, Mike. Here we are to finish off. There we go. Let's finish off this podcast here. Let's talk about the Colorado Avalanche. Off-season trades, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Stop me if you've heard this before. They traded Ross Colton and Isaac Bosch to the Nashville Predators for Magnus Krona, a third-round pick, and another pick. They traded Jack Drury and Chase Bradley and a 2029 third-round pick to the Colorado Avalanche for Fyodor Svechkov. Still can't do it. And Zachary Leheroux. Poor Fjord, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They traded Valerie Nichushkin for a 2026 second-round pick, a 2027 third-round pick, and a 2028 fifth-round pick. And they acquired, they traded away Ivan for Fabian Lysell. Ivan.
Like laziest parents ever.
What do you think his
Even
middle
think
name
about
is?
his name. Ivan.
They just
Evan,
like call it
actually.
Triple I.
It's Ivan.
Mike, what do you think of these trades? What stands out to you?
I mean, obviously they have an expensive team, so they have to always figure out how to make numbers work, which is why they dumped Val's $6.125 million. I get it. Ross Colton, they dumped his $4 million onto Nashville. Jack Drury, like I kind of said earlier, I think it was like the number he was going to want just wasn't going to work, so we'll ship him out for something. Let former GM Chris McFarland have his guy back. So like the trades, I don't take a lot away from it, other than like they were clearing cap space for what they were eventually going to do as far as signings and re-signings go.
Why we just burn through those real quick, and we'll do like a whole talk at each other thing. Yeah. Mike, they signed Brett Kulak, 5 years, 22.5 total. They signed Jaden Schwartz, 3 years, $9.75 million total. They signed Noah Yulson, 2 years, $2.2 million total. I'm saying totals because for whatever reason I did not write down the AAV for these ones. That's it. That's everyone they signed for over $1 million per year.
How dare you? I know it wasn't over $1 million, but how dare you not mention Burnsy coming back 1 year, $850K? You disrespect the beard like that.
Is he 43 yet? He's 41.
Old as shit.
41.
Yeah.
He's gonna be
Age
42
is like
this
fine
season.
Wine, brother. Hasn't lost a step.
We have talked about a lot of old teams in our time covering the NHL.
Yeah.
Talked about some old teams last week. Talked about, this week, like I would say the oldest team we probably talked about was Nashville. That kind of went with the young and the old. This team's old. This is an old team. This team's old. Here are all their players over 30 years old, Mike. Arturi Lehkonen, Nate McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, Brock Nelson, Schwartz, Nazem Kadri. Nick Waugh's going to be there this year, but isn't yet. Devon Taves. Cale Makar's 27 still. Jesus Christ. Scott Wedgwood. Brett Kulak. Brent Burns. Josh Manson. And Logan O'Connor is also over 30. Well, he's 30. It's an old fucking team, man.
It is. It's an old team. It felt very like a team that still has a core group of players in their prime. So they're grabbing vets, guys with experience on cheap contracts. I mean, I like bringing back, as much as I joke, I do like bringing back Burns, having him on like your third pair. Still has value. Getting the Kulak deal done. 32, still in his prime. I like that. I mean, like Schwartz, fine. Like 34. I don't know about that. They're looking at a vet who has some offensive upside. They didn't have a lot of cap space to work with. Even now, they're sitting at a projected cap space of $404,000. So maybe they can make an offer sheet to somebody, to a big name. I'm shocked they didn't send a $404,000 a year offer sheet to Jason Robertson so he could say no.
Yeah. What the thing that astounds me is the 5-year deal for Kulak, but maybe that's the only way you could get the number down below $5 million, which notably they couldn't have signed him if it was more than $5 million.
Yeah, I will say that, like, I still think this team on paper is very good. What worries me is what we saw happen in the playoffs, where they had to beat up McKinnon. Yeah, they beat up McKinnon. Makar was beat up, didn't even play the first game of that Vegas series. And I mean, to be fair, they did just run into a vibes-fueled team where Carter Hart all of a sudden got really hot. But still, the injuries were a massive detriment. And I look at like their team on paper, and they are still very much like that, to where one significant injury makes life a lot harder. And I also still hate their goaltending situation. I don't care what Wedgwood did in the regular season. He was ass in the playoffs. And it's just not going to work with him there.
By the way, Makar, contract here.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that he's only making $9 million when you compare it to other contracts right now. He's making he's 15
now,
a year.
If you were a GM, would you pay him more or less than Bowen Byram?
I'd probably pay him more, but hey, I'm not an NHL GM. What do I know?
I don't. Okay, so let me ask you this as a broader question about the Central.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of the top 3 teams get better?
No.
All 3 of them got worse, right?
I think I'd say Colorado. I'd say a lot of them are very much the same. Maybe Dallas got a little bit worse, but like I think Colorado is basically the same, depending on your like how much you love Jack. I do have a lot of time in the day for Ross Colton. I do like Ross Colton. That's a bummer of a loss, I'd say, more so than
Yeah, like
Drury. Yeah,
their depth really got hurt,
Not
and
pretty.
they replaced him with like young, unproven guys. But their depth is all screwed up in their forward group. Their goaltending still sucks, and like, dude, Brent Burns is 41 years old and is gonna be playing real minutes for this team.
Yeah,
and what do you do this
offseason? They have a
offseason?
prospect to pull up.
I believe. I don't have it open in front of me anymore, but if I'm remembering correctly, they do have the worst prospect pool in the NHL.
They have to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Based on what that team's done over the last few years, they have to be close to the very bottom. Yeah. So I will. So I'll actually come around. I don't think any of them got demonstrably. Is that the right how you say that?
Yeah.
Demonstrably worse, but I think they all got a little bit worse.
So who would you take right now to win this division?
So I'd take Colorado,
Mhm.
and that's simply because of two words, and that's McKinnon and Makar. They have
That's
the
3
two
words.
best players in the division.
Would you bet it at plus 120?
Oh, plus 120, yeah.
You would what? That's terrible. There's no way they're
Plus
winning it
120.
for a division winner in this division to be like they got so hot last
Fair
year at
point.
the start of
Okay,
the year,
fair,
but
fair.
they got worse.
Yeah, and like I said, they're like if injuries happen, it's going to be tough sledding for them. Like Nate McKinnon, God forbid. Like we saw what happened in the playoffs when Makar was banged up, and like as much as I love Devon Taves for being like a well-rounded defenseman, him trying to lead the power play was not pretty.
No. And they have 2 players on their blue line below the year 30.
Mm-hmm.
So, not great. Mike, what grade did you give the Colorado Avalanche?
I wanted to give him a higher grade at first, just because I have a soft spot in my heart
You have
for
one of
the
those soft
Abbies. But
spots,
I just
eh?
went with. I have a little bit of a soft spot.
Mhm.
I just went with the C.
Yeah, I went with the C minus because they just eviscerated their depth out of necessity, but they eviscerated their depth. And they obviously couldn't go the distance last year, so that's not a great sign for them.
Yeah.
They have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players on a contract year, and only one of them matters. But the question is, can you free up enough cap space to sign that one guy?
Keep saying they eviscerated their depth. They still have Parker Kelly. All right.
Who do you think is more likely to sign back with their original team based off all the circumstances we know? Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes?
Ooh, Cale Makar.
He just feels like
100%.
an av. But
Yeah,
can
when
they?
you say original team, you mean the team they're currently on? Because Quinn
Yeah.
Hughes' original team was Vancouver. Okay, gotcha.
And as
Yeah,
we all know,
I'd
Cale
take-
Makar's original name was the Atlanta Thrashers. So,
No.
yeah, but like I don't know how Colorado's going to free up enough cap space to like. I guess you just trade everyone whose name isn't Nate McKinnon if you have to keep Cale Makar on the team.
Like you're probably not re-signing Lehkonen next year.
Yeah.
I would try to get off like Blackwood, who's now your backup goalie, who's making 5.2. You got to make space to re-sign Makar. I mean, maybe they're gonna have a hard look in the mirror and have the uncomfortable conversation of Gabriel Landeskog at 33 and a history of injuries, making $7 million.
Well, and every
Captain,
year,
I know it's tough.
every year they almost move Marty Necas for some reason. So that's bound to happen. Every trade deadline, it's like Avs shopping Marty. Why? Why are you shopping Marty Necas?
This has McKinnon's cap hit at 12 mil, 604,000, and that really pisses me off. What, did his agent really like negotiate for that extra 4K?
Listen, if you were his agent after everyone spent the previous 5 years telling you how great of a contract he got, or he was on for the team, you would negotiate for every single additional dollar.
That's true.
Although he still got less than Bowen Byram, so. Mike, that's all I got. We got any hockey news on the way out the door? Oh wait, I didn't give a grade, did I? Oh yeah, I did. C minus.
You did, yeah. I went
Yeah,
C, you went C minus.
Yeah.
I see no hockey news, sir.
I was pulling up ESPN to check, and I just want to shout outs to the front page that was an article by Ryan McGee Welcome to the preseason bottom 10, pending Jaden Daniels' approval for number 5.
I guess we didn't do the tap this week. It's too bad. I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, doesn't look like there's any news here, Mike. You got any plugs on the way out the door?
Just keep an eye out. Might have something cooking, but I'm not going to say what it is because
that's not a plug.
Promises.
Just so you know, that's not
Follow
a plug.
us. Ring the bell on everything so you know when it drops.
Next week, do you want to do the Metropolitan or the Atlantic? It's kind of hard because they're both. Okay, let's.
Detroit's in the Atlantic, right?
Yes.
And that's like central. So I say we go Detroit. I say we go with Atlantic next.
Who's further west though, Detroit or Columbus?
Ooh, I'm pretty sure Detroit.
Yeah, because I think you have to drive through Ohio to get to Michigan.
Yeah, I think Ohio is still Eastern time zone. So
it is a little funny to do the Atlantic, and then do a team that's further east. Like you would think.
Yeah, it is weird, but your call. I say we'll go Atlantic and then finish
Atlantic.
Up
it
with
is
the metrosexual division.
We'll do the Atlantic next week, and we'll come back for the last of the metrosexual division. If you want to follow us on any of our socials, if you want to see us stream, if you want to email us with your favorite off-season signing off-season trade that had a player that was retained by 50%. All that stuff's in the description below. It's also on the screen here at the end of the podcast. If you are watching the video version. If you are watching the video version, be sure to like and subscribe. It does good things for the channel. If you are listening to the audio version of this, be sure that you follow, leave a review, recommend to a friend, perhaps hack into the giant screen in Times Square and just play the podcast over that if you know how to do that. But otherwise, we will see you back here next week for hopefully a tap, but definitely a baskie. Talk more about this. And with that, Mike, since we don't do shout-outs on the way out the door here, who do you believe is currently listed as in the press box for the Montreal Canadiens?
Oh, in the press box for the Montreal Canadiens. Fuck. You're going to say the name and I'm going to be very upset.
Are you gonna put in a guess?
I'm not going to put in a guess, but you're going to say it and I'm going to be like, of course.
They didn't list anyone, as in the...
That was a trick question.
It was a trick question. They didn't list anyone.
You son of a bitch.
In my defense.
I'm done. I'm leaving. Let's
get out of here.